Hey Gladiators, it's time to get ready for next year. We're going to start forecasting today. So let's go over the materials, the timeline, and the plan. First off, today you're going to get a handbook online. We're going to show you where that is. You're going to get a copy of these slides and you'll see how to get to that on our website. Your forecasting sheet, they're different colors by grade, and your transcript. We want you to keep your transcript and your forecasting sheet together and use the handbook to look up courses. We're going to give you the timeline. We're going to talk about how to communicate about your courses and what to pick and how to pick them. We're going to talk through how to use your transcript and how to find information in the handbook. And lastly, talking through pathways and how your classes here in high school can connect to your future. Materials for today. After this presentation, you're going to get your forecasting sheet and your transcript. Please write your name legibly on your forecasting sheet and staple it to your transcript. And please keep those together. We're going to use those when you meet with your counselor to talk through your placements and the courses. So it's really helpful to have that with you together. And we'll talk through how to get a copy of a transcript in just a moment. You're going to have access to the handbook online. It is on our website. You can pull that up at any time on any device. Look through course descriptions and planning tools, which we'll reference here in just a moment. There are several career pathways. This is an example of one in our health sciences area. It shows you different courses and their connectedness to jobs that you can have in the future. They're listed here, and also talks about ways you can get dual credit. So those are great ways to look at ways to get college credit while you're taking high school classes with your high school teachers, which is cool. Also an opportunity for you to confirm an area you might want to pursue for a job or rule something out if it's something you want to think about and realize that you've saved yourself some time and investment in something that maybe you don't want to do as a job. So it gives you a chance to try some things on. Lastly, we want to offer opportunity for you to look for a challenge. So there are some things in the handbook and some references. If you're interested in an honors diploma, the requirements can be found on page 8 of our handbook, and also dual credit. So some courses, again, that our teachers teach here at the high school, but also offer college credit. So you can see what those are. We have agreements with both Clackamas Community College and Oregon Institute of Technology to offer college credits at a very reduced rate for our students for courses you take here in high school. Timeline, just some basics here real quick. Today you start looking. Over the next week, you're going to talk with your adults at home. You're going to consult with teachers. And you're going to look at doing sign-offs for your teachers in the next 7 days. Then, in 7 days, on March 5th, you're going to turn in your forms again right where you are, in third period, with your transcripts attached. And you're going to give those over to the counselors. And once those are turned in, Sauce and Jensen will make sure we have everyone's materials, and we will start meeting with students by grade level. So we're going to refer to you as rising seniors. You are current 11th graders, and current 10th graders are rising 11th graders, and so forth. We'll start with rising seniors and move down to rising 10th graders, and you don't need to schedule anything. We're going to come around and either meet with you in small groups or one-on-one and review the forms with you. You can make adjustments. You can ask questions. We'll go over all of that. You don't need to email us or track us down to have conversations prior to those meetings. Even though you're going to have questions, that's completely fine. But remember, there are 2 of us and about 580 of you guys. So we want to make sure that we're serving everybody, and you will get time with your counselor, and we're going to go grade by grade. So don't think we forgot about you. We'll make sure that you have time and get your questions answered. Information. You want to make sure that you involve your family. That's actually a required part of forecasting. So make sure that you have a sign-off from whoever is at home with you. And just remember, it's important to include them for lots of reasons. They are also invested in your future. They know your skills. They know what you're trying to work on. They know what your strengths are. And it helps you manage whatever level of courses you've chosen when they understand the time that it takes, the energy that it takes, and why you're taking the classes that you've taken. And it also increases your motivation and your investment when everyone's in the plan together. Ways to use your transcript. They help you check your credits. They help you review your GPA. They help you see where you're working towards graduation. We'll go over all those credits soon. And they're also always available in your Student View account. So a lot of people want that paper copy. We can get those for you, but these copies are intended just for forecasting. So we want to be able to reference back to the courses you've taken and the grades that you've earned. So keep those attached. And again, also transcripts can also be used for references for jobs. And also some of you can qualify for a reduction in your car insurance. Fun fact. So if you want that hot tip, you can use your transcript for that if your GPA is at a certain level, depending on your insurance provider. Also, Career pathways. Other benefits of looking through a career pathway or potentially pursuing one is the industries do like seeing that you had an opportunity and you pursued that opportunity to get some coursework and some experience around content areas you have interest in. It makes you a marketable candidate for either a training program and or additional educational opportunity. And it also can help you either lock in or rule out a career option. So it helps you really see, is this something I want to spend a lot of time and energy and or money around post high school? So it's a chance for you to save time, money, and training for something that could lead to a career. So it's a good idea to try some things on, see what you're interested in, ask lots of questions. This last part, communication with staff, is key. They are teaching these classes. They know you as a learner. What is it they know? What do they recommend? What makes sense? What kind of work is going to be required? And make sure it's meeting your needs. You're going to collect signatures and think about the best options for you specifically. A lot of people try to select courses with their peers or their friends or their partner, and it really doesn't make sense because you don't know, there's no guarantee you're going to be in classes together or even the same semester. So make sure you're picking classes that make sense for you. And really, really please use the handbook. There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of background, and it really helps you see a thorough process of all the classes if you're utilizing that tool. We're going to go through transcripts grade specific. So rising 10th graders, these are our current 9th graders all the way up until rising 12th. So first off, the smallest amount of information is going to be found on our 10th grade transcripts. You're going to have one semester and one G term, and then your current classes are listed on all transcripts called work in progress. So this is where the courses are listed. Your grades are permanent. If you don't pass a class and do get recovery for that, it will be listed separately on a following term. So if you were to take summer school or G-term credit recovery, that will show up then on a line item in your G-term. We'll go over credit requirements in just a moment. This is the next box in your transcript. It's adjacent to the classes that are listed, and it goes over everything that you need for a diploma, which is the same for every class. The difference here is this is what's required, 26 credits. This column defines what you've completed. What you're currently taking is, again, work in progress, WIP, and then what you need to reach that 26 credit spot, which is for current 9th graders, that is 19.5 credits is what you need. Sounds like a lot, but we'll be knocking those credits out as we go. So real quick review of courses and what those look like. Social studies is broken down with social studies 1, 2, and then in senior year, you can either, in junior or senior year, you can either take AP US History or you can take what's called Modern US History, and this top one up here, Civics. So you need a total of 3 credits for social studies, but there's a different breakdown category. Civics is part of social studies. They're just a different category on our list here. Science is 3 credits. Personal finance is senior year. It's just a half credit. It was placed in the G term this year, likely to be next year as well. Physical education, you need 2 PE classes, 1 credit. Math is 3 credits. This is a whole large category that includes career technical education, which is a lot of technology classes, world languages, arts, and performing arts. So that can be Spanish, it can be music, it can be photography, lots of classes in there, ceramics, all of those elective classes that have some technical skill and or arts qualify here. You need 3 credits of these. Language arts, you need the most for the core classes. You need 4 credits. That's 1 every single year. If you do not pass any section of language arts, you do need to make that up. So there may be notes on your transcript suggesting summer school, and that would be why we want to make sure we get those credits back. Some people weren't eligible for credit recovery because of the percentage of their grade, so we'll talk through how to get that credit back, or if we have to put it back on the forecasting sheet. And then anyone that is, or all of you, it's this year's juniors and above, need a college and career higher education career paths course, which is landing in your junior year during the G term. Everyone takes 2 health classes, Health 1 sophomore year and Health 2 junior year. You have electives, you need 7 total of those. So that's how your credits break down that you're working towards. We really want to be focusing on what is left that you need, and your forecasting sheet also helps you select those for grade level. We'll go over that in just a moment. 11th graders, very similar, only you have 1 year of trimesters, and then this year of 1 semester, 1 G term. Again, same graduation requirements, what you've completed and what you have left. So that's kind of the breakdown there. You can look through that. If you're making progress and earning the credits that you should, it leaves you with social studies for that junior, senior level, depending on if you want to take a push or not, 2 language arts classes, and 1 math class typically. And you can always go above your minimum requirements in your core classes as well. And then we go to seniors. So seniors are going to have 2 years of trimesters, 1 year of a semester in a G term. And another note is you will have progressing attendance on your transcript as well, and that can be a nice way to show that you show up for school, and your grades often reflect your attendance. So it is really important, a good spot for us to remind each other when we show up, we perform better in school. It's true for work too as you become adults. So it's really important that you start making a connection between attendance and school performance. As we look through the needed course credits for this senior year, it's very, very common for students to need the social studies course, language arts, and the senior seminar class. And this senior class, lots of people still need one more PE class as well. So just look through those. Often there's going to be notes from counselors around. Make sure you grab, if you have a science credit hanging out there, or if you have a PE class, make sure you're picking one that looks like it's a good fit. If you don't pick one, we're going to look at your credit requirements and review that as well. And us picking a course isn't always what you would want to pick. So make sure you pick what you'd like, and maybe even a backup as well. And we'll talk through those courses in just a moment. So that's a great place to be checking. If the number needed is higher than the number, you get six credits through your regular semesters, and you'll get up to a credit in your G terms total. If you're lining up for how much you need and how much is left, sometimes people are going to be short credits. We've made notes on your transcripts for that, so just check for those, and we'll talk through those when we meet with you. So another reason to hang on to that transcript. Okay, so on the forecasting sheets, rising 10th graders, this is what yours looks like. It's going to be blue, and you are going to look through, it's going to lay out exactly how to pick your classes and what is available to you in those areas, and then electives. So we're going to go through that real quick. English is for all grades, regular English and advanced. You have a health class as rising 10th graders, and then the math progression is going to be following this line, this Algebra 1 and geometry, and then whether you're going to go the financial algebra route or the Algebra 2. Math teachers will talk you through that to make sure it's the right placement, and you will need to sign off to be like, yes, you're in the right spot, so we don't have someone jumping over or missing a requirement, or for some reason maybe going backwards. So making sure you're in the right spot, it's the right level of rigor. Science, you have two options, integrated science and college prep chemistry. You can talk with your biology teacher about this, and then everyone will take social studies 2A and 2B, and that leaves room for 3 electives for you, 3 semesters worth. And we'll go over that in just a moment on the backside. These top 3 here, 1, 2, and 3, are your very top choice, is the one you want the most. And you should get a total of 12 semesters in terms of terms, which is 6 credits. Again, just for the semester, we will, as it's noted here, forecast separately for G terms, okay? Next is your alternates. There's 4 lines here for you to put in what are your backups. It's okay if classes take more than 1 term. For example, if you were to choose on your top elective or your alternate something like Spanish or music, those are multiple terms. You want to make sure you designate 3 terms, or you can write A and B, or 2 terms, and make sure that's clear on that. I misspoke on 3 terms, trimesters, but G term would usually be a continuation of AP courses and music programs as well. So you get those filled in with your top choices, and then your backups as well. And then just a quick reminder, when we fill these out, we're planning for an entire year. It helps us build the schedule and assign staff for each department. So we want to make sure that you are thinking through these choices and that you are clear this is going to be your schedule for an entire year next year. We don't have room in our schedule to just rebuild it every time we switch terms. So we can't just get into second semester next year and say, never mind, I don't want any of these classes, or this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and change them all. So this is what you are telling us right now, with your family signing off as well. You sign, they sign. This is what I want for the entire year, and I've given you my top choices, and that way we know for sure this is exactly what you want. Here's the list of options for the classes you can take here and all the different categories those fall in. Designations for if they offer dual credit or a pathway, so you can look through that in the handbook again. Or if you're not quite sure what the class means, which is often true, go through the handbook and look at the course descriptions. What does that mean? What would I do? What are the projects? What am I building? What am I making? Am I singing? Like, what are those pieces? And so looking through what all those classes mean is really, really helpful. So again, use the handbook. Link will be in the slides you'll get shortly. And then the bottom part of this form is, and the directions, are all the way on the left-hand side. So use the course handbook. Use a pencil when you can to make sure we know exactly what your top choices are. Prioritize what do you want most. And then also remember that if you need support classes for either a learning plan or for language support, that you're putting those courses down, and your case managers will help you with that too. And then lastly, what do you want to do after high school? So looking through, do we want to have an honors diploma? Do we have an interest already in a career pathway? And there are different requirements if you want to do sports and athletics in college. And so just knowing what those requirements are, again, in the handbook, but just something we can review if you'd like to. And then lastly, what is it you want to be when you grow up? There's a little spot for you to put that and what you might want to do to get to that point. So if it's go right to work, if it's to join a trade, if it's to get more training, join the military, any of those things, great. Let us know. We're going to ask you if you don't write down, but it helps us if you get an idea. And then any questions you have right now that you feel like you want answers to, write them down right here, and we'll get to them when we come and meet with you individually. And everyone will get a chance to have their questions answered. Or if your family has questions, feel free to write them down and make sure we get those answered. Okay. Next, rising 11th graders. Again, advanced English and regular. Math is pathway exactly the same as the year before. Different science offerings now that you're going to be juniors. So just making sure you're looking through what those courses are, talking with your science teachers to say, hey, I think this sounds interesting. Would this connect to this career? Ask questions. Be curious. That's what we want. As juniors, you have the option this year to take AP US History. It alternates every other year. So if you really want that course, it is a college level history course. It takes the place of modern US history and civics as your senior year, but it also goes throughout the year. So it'll be first semester, second semester, and G term to get you prepared for the exam that covers all the material in that class. So if that's something you have interest in, make sure that you look through that. Mr. Lopez would be the one that would talk with you about the textbook that you would read and all the materials and you would be responsible for in that class. So if that's interesting to you and you want to take that, great. Make sure you get a sign off on that. Otherwise, the rest of you would not take history again until your junior year, or your senior year, till 12th grade. Electives, you have more room for more options here, so just make sure you're looking through those on the backside here and you're prioritizing what are your top choices, count them up, and then make sure you have alternates as well. A lot of times people just don't fill in lines and say they don't care or they don't know, and you just get left whatever there's room in. So make sure you put some time into what sounds interesting to you. And then again, the sign off that these are for the whole year next year, and that's for you and a parent as well. Electives here, a little bit of change and a little more offerings in this general elective category. And you also have the opportunity to take psychology with a college professor. That's not available until this now junior year. And then the same questions we had that we went over with the 10th graders. What do you want to do after high school? And if you want more information and questions, note them here. Finally, seniors, you do need to have 5 classes minimum for the beginning of for each semester. So just know that ahead of time, even if your requirements don't match up. That is a policy that we have, so just know that. And then you're going to pick, again, English between regular and advanced, math progression. If you already have your 3 credits for math, that's great. But also, if you are headed towards any sort of technical training program and higher education, it is encouraged to continue to take math. And many of all Pre-calculus and AP Calculus also offer dual credit, so you're getting college credit, saving a ton of money and time by taking those in high school. So seriously consider those options if that's your placement. Talk to your teacher. That makes sense. That's your math progression. Again, takes a sign off there as well. And then science, similar options to what you had available junior year, or exactly the same. We do have alternating years for AP Chemistry and AP Bio, so know that. And environmental sciences back in the mix rather than marine biology. So if you have different interests there, and then some career-related classes, so check those health sciences on a career pathway classes that have changed too. So look through those, and then again, you have the option as a senior to choose either Modern U.S. History or AP U.S. History and get a teacher sign off if you want that AP course. And then you're going to fill in your elective choices in priority order and some alternates, and again, get that parent sign off. Back of the form is the same here as the juniors, and then here again, just filling out what it is you want to do after high school. Okay, so quick summary. You start today. We're going to plan. We're going to look at all the materials that you've got and that are available through slides and online. We're going to seek information. We're going to ask questions. We're going to be curious, talk to adults, talk to staff. And then lastly, you have 1 week, and then we're going to turn the materials in. And then rising seniors, we start with you, and we come find you in class and go over all these materials and talk with you to make sure that we're getting you ready for next year. So exciting to get started. Please dig in and use the time that you have to get started, and we will go ahead and kick off getting your materials. All right? Excited to meet with you guys.